Hi, Filmatics. Welcome back to part two of our Oscar after party with Movie Man Mark or Lord Mark because we decided to give ourselves our own titles. And, while we're waiting for Scotland to clear our titles. and
Yeah, if Scotland's not going to give us the titles, we're going to give them to ourselves.
yeah, because I think we deserve them for the after party. And, Mark was youngest comedian at 19 years old on Amazon, right? With your own special, right?
That's right. You know your facts. I'm impressed.
And Mark is also has just about his Spider-Man, the last swing, right? The last swing is coming out. Or the final
That's
swing.
right. Final swing. We got our full trailer debuting soon on the Six Side Studios YouTube channel.
Oh, that's amazing. Hey, Mark, how much do you have to work out and get fit for playing Spider-Man?
That's a great question. I don't think I ever would have started working out if it weren't for playing that role, to be truthfully honest. I gained 30 pounds of muscle for this last installment, actually. I really thought, if it's the last time I'm playing the character, I want to take it seriously on a physical level. So, yeah, I went through that whole process.
Hey, and you get the special Oscar a fan film award for, working out the most for your character.
Oh, you're giving me an award right now? That's amazing.
Yeah. I'll be
waiting for it. I'll be waiting for it in the mail then.
Yeah, that's how we do it on this show. Our audience loves us because if they come on here, they're like, I want to go on her show. She gives out all these awards. I'm trying to be competitive with the Oscar gift bag worth over almost $100,000. So I give back to people.
That's awesome. Okay, I'll hold you to that one. I want to see the award on my wall.
Okay, and then hey, Mark, have you seen Drive My Car? Because that one, it looks amazing. Do you know anything about Drive My Car?
I mean, I drive my car every day, so.
Yeah, I'm glad. And I walk my dog every day. But let's see, it's this is just one of those uh, paced movies where they're in their car and just I, the way the guys explained it, the way Charlie Campanella from Formosa Group on our Oscar special explains Drive My Car is phenomenal. But it's one of those slow paced movies that keeps it's like almost 3 hours, and it's really amazing. It's like a stage act.
It doesn't personally sound like my cup of tea, but if you know the guys involved, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I think it's like really worth taking, especially if you like directing and writing and acting in like one of those films that's you're in a car. Like to pull that off of something so kind of like mundane, being in a car, and you're able to take the audience for almost a 3-hour drive.
Are they actually the whole movie?
Well, I mean, almost, but yeah. But okay.
Okay, yeah. I think I would have heard of it if that was that's an amazing gimmick. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before. A whole film set in a car.
Well, I don't know. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but that's what he was kind of explaining. So, have you seen Belfast or know about Belfast?
To be honest, Merlin, the only films that I've seen out of the Oscar noms this year were Don't Look Up, which I thought was great. I loved the political satire in that. Did you watch that one? Don't Look Up?
No, because there's only so much room.
You didn't look up Don't Look Up, huh?
I did. I can't even look up because I'm writing stories for my podcast. I'm doing podcasts. It's like I mean, literally, even Spotify said, "Did you even look up last year, Marilyn? You did so many episodes of Filmatics." I goes, "You need to come up and breathe this year."
Yeah, well, when you get a chance, you should check that out if you're interested in like political satires, and it kind of goes into like how would the public and the government and all this react if the world was coming to an end, and it's very modern. I think they got a lot of inspiration from how the whole world reacted to the pandemic in different ways, and it was very on the nose and very funny too. Meryl Streep is in it; she did a great job playing the president. And then there's Jennifer Lawrence does a great job as well. Leonardo DiCaprio is in it as a scientist, and they're trying to convince the public that this is actually happening, and no one seems to want to believe them. People want to believe what they want to believe and hear what they want to hear. So that was all very realistic, and it was sort of an eye not an eye opener exactly, in the way that other films and other shows like Dope Sick, which should have been nominated, but actually, well, it's a show, so I guess, but it's so good, it's on the level of a film. But it was just very realistic and funny at the same time. It was a great achievement by the director there. So he also directed Adam McKay. Also directed, if you remember from a few years ago, there was the film called what was that film that he made? I'm losing the name right now. The Big Short. He did that as well. So, and he did Vice, and he did the other guys. So he had a large comedy background, and now he's going into a little bit more of like, they're still comedies, but they have deeper meanings and stuff. So he's been a guy that I've been definitely following. And then the other film that I briefly mentioned earlier in part one was West Side Story. I'm 2/3 through that film, and I really, at first I was going, I don't know if there's a point to this, because it's very it's a film that's set in the '60s, and the original is very true to the times, but the cinematography that Steven Spielberg's cinematographer pulled off it almost makes it worth it. And then the other great thing that surprised me halfway through is they, if you're familiar at all with West Side Story, is they changed the location of one of the songs. Steven Spielberg wasn't a fan of the song "I Feel Pretty." "I Feel Pretty." You know that song, right, Marilyn?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
I don't know if I feel
it's
pretty.
in the play in the from the '60s. It's the opening of Act Two, but he thought it was kind of, I guess, pointless or whatever. So he recontextualizes it by placing it after this big brawl scene where two of the main characters kill each other, and all of a sudden now you have this character who doesn't even know that her brother's been killed, and she's great because she's thinking about this guy that she just met, Tony. And so it's just like this beautiful like contrast between the scene prior and the scene that's playing out, and it just adds so much extra context that you didn't know you needed in that song. So that alone made it worth it for me. And Rachel Zegler was great to see, because she started off on YouTube making cover videos. She's a singer from New Jersey, and all of a sudden her first acting credit, she hadn't done any commercials, anything. She's the star of a film. She's the star of a Steven Spielberg movie, and she's going on. She wasn't invited to the awards, which was caused a little bit of a controversy last weekend. But then they made it up to her, and they invited her to present. And she's actually filming Snow White now in London. So she flew in from London to present. But yeah,
Oh,
she's a great performer and great singer. So that's another one that I saw.
ah, so she's one of the YouTube. Did you know her personally, or you just she's just a YouTube family, like?
No, she's not. I don't know her personally, but I mean, I would love to. She's very talented, and you could tell that she was that girl in her high school that just booked every, I don't know if booked is the term, but landed every single lead role in each of the musicals that her school did. I'm sure she had a lot of like jealous schoolmates and people going, "Oh, I could sing better," blah blah blah. But now, I mean, it's like the proof is in the pudding, and she's just so talented. And she just shot. It might have been almost a year. She's going to have a critical role in the DC movie Shazam 2. So yeah, her career and her stardom is really taking off fast.
Ooh, I just came out with Johnny Bolt. I've got some superhero movies too. I just came out with the Wonder Kids and Johnny Bolt and the Wizard Diaries. It's so fun. So
Wow, that does sound the Lizard Diaries. That sounds fun.
yeah, but when you hear Shazam, I was like Johnny Bolt. But yeah, because my friend got hit by lightning and a lightning bolt. And he wanted to publish some of my books because he's a indie publisher, top 10 indie publisher. And so he was telling me about that. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a story about something. He goes, go ahead, go ahead, kid." And so that's how I came up with Johnny Bolt because there's people that get hit by lightning and it changes them. They can see the future and all these amazing things. So that's what inspired me to write that story. And I just, in my imagination, I was just like, I saw this kid and Johnny Bolt and Penelope Applekiss. She's got like that freeze kiss that can like freeze out the villains.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I'd love to read that.
Yeah, it's on Enchanting Book Readings, and, I told you I didn't look up because I'm working so hard to make these kids happy because, these kids around the world have had it really rough, like, with COVID and now what's going on with the world, and I just think it's so important that, when you see number 1 rankings every week on your podcast, the parents and the kids, they're grateful and it touches my heart, so I wanna give them good stuff. I might not have the best sound. I got a Blue Yeti mic. I'm trying to learn how to use it, but I'm trying to give them better sound. So, I'm doing my best to upgrade my sound, to get up here with the big boys being nominated for best sound, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing to strive towards. Um, and who knows, maybe you'll get nominated for best sound next.
Yeah, and let's talk about Dune, of course. Yeah, Dune. Did you read the book?
No, did you read the book?
That's called we skim the book. It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I don't read you as much of a reader.
Me?
I mean, you're more of a writer, like creating the stories.
Yeah, yeah, but I used to read a book, like, I think in the library every single day. I read every animal book, but then I got depressed because like, every animal story, like Old Yeller and Rin Tin Tin or whatever, all those books, like Lassie, someone would die, the dog would die, so I go, "I'm just not gonna do it anymore. These are too sad." So, yeah, so I said, "I'm gonna write some kick butt, kid stories that, aren't gonna be, like, making you cry when you read them, because 'cause you're not supposed to be crying. I just couldn't do it anymore. I just want something fun and light and happy, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you sound like you're describing like the old Disney movies, like Bambi.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know, like, when I started reading children's books, I'm like, everyone was, like, dark and depressing, and someone got killed, and then, like, the Fables, the Grimm brothers, man, were they grim. I mean, I know what I call the Grimm brothers, like, Frozen, like, Disney repurposed that and made it light and bright. No, Little Mermaid, in the story, like, her tongue was cut. I mean, and she didn't get the guy. It was just like, wow. Disney really did a really great job of what would you call it, interpreting those stories and making them fun and cute and sweet. Besides killing off the moms or the dad at the beginning, like the Lion King, right? You know?
Well, if you saw it tonight, they had what I really liked. Speaking of Zegler, is that since she is going to be Disney royalty playing Snow White, which is their first animated princess from the 30s, they had her present along with Lily James, who's in the new Hulu series Pam and Tommy about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, and she played Cinderella a few years ago in Disney's remake of that, and then they also had. On the same stage was the actress for Princess Jasmine as well from the 2019 Aladdin movie. So I thought that was kind of cool how they put up all those princesses from the Disney remakes, which
Oh,
it makes me wonder how long the Disney remake trend will continue because you know is it just a trend or is it here to stay? I'm not really sure, but because they tried re-releasing all their movies in 3D, that sort of faded away. But I think that with these remakes, they're getting the chance, and West Side Story remake as well. They're getting the chance to modernize it a little bit and not necessarily reinvent it by any means, or making it take place in modern times, but updating it for a new audience. And I think it creates a little bit of an interesting exercise even for film lovers by getting at a young age you get to compare and see what the differences are from the original. And it's sort of part of the fun. So a lot of people are kind of they're not a fan of the remakes and they think the remakes shouldn't be nominated for awards and stuff. But I think that all films, they sort of pull from stories that have been reused many times, and they do say that there are only about 7 original unique stories, and every film is a slight iteration of one of those 7 stories. So I don't have a problem with them. In fact, like I would love to even be part of one day. But I do love Disney, the original films as well. And they Encanto won for best animated film, and that, boy, talk about like a phenomenon, and just really blowing people out of the water with how many times kids are wanting to watch that movie. Everyone's complaining in the industry, oh, my kid has made me watch this 190 times. Like DJ Khaled was talking about that today. And I know the feeling of being a kid and just wanting to watch the same movie over and over and over, rewinding the tape. Kids don't have to deal with that anymore. They just press play again on the streaming service. But yeah, if you were a kid, you wanted to watch the movie again, you had to rewind that, sit there and wait. That's why we're so patient, the previous generation. All the kids want now, instant gratification on TikTok. But yeah, I'm just in general, I'm just a huge movie fan. So even though I didn't watch all the Oscar noms, like I'm still just as big of a fan as I was ever.
And speaking of Disney princesses, some of these actresses on the red carpet, they were in these. They look like Disney princesses because I liked it. It was like pastel, pretty colors. They look almost like a Easter bouquet. Like Jessica Chastain, she had like that. Like she looked like Little Mermaid. Like they look like Disney princesses, right? Didn't Chastain look like Ariel from Little Mermaid? She had like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of Ariel, I made a slight mistake there. They didn't have the Snow White actress Rachel Zegler present with that group. She was on stage with someone else, but they had the upcoming actress for Ariel in the Little Mermaid remake, which is slated to come out next year. Halle Bailey is her name, and she's a person of color, so that's an interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do there with the remake, and I think it's great for representation, and a new young group of girls will be able to like see themselves in that character. So yeah, I think I'm all for that.
Yeah, and speaking of our other princesses, Nicole Kidman had some kind of like blue gray like on top it looked like a ballerina kind of like little poofy thing, and then it was long. And then
I
Zendaya.
find so like Nicole Kidman, she's always appearing before the AMC films now. I don't know if you've been to an AMC theater recently, but they play this ad with her in the AMC theater before every single movie, and it's turned into a joke at this point where people are kind of sick of seeing that same ad over and over again. But it's funny because now they're like making fun of how annoying it is. So people just go on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Whenever the ad comes up, they just go woo and start applauding and stuff. I went to see a movie the other week and everyone started cheering when that ad came on because it's just become such a joke. But
Well,
yeah, Nicole Kidman is great. Yeah.
yeah, and then Zendaya, she had her pretty she had like a little mermaid, like a silver dress skirt and a half top. And Mila Kunis, she had this. I liked her. It was like light pink. It was very elegant and beautiful. It kind of reminded me of the old Hollywood glamour, and her hair was very beautiful. And then I liked this light pink dress that this girl looked kind of almost like Tiffany, Breakfast at Tiffany style. And
A lot of people are wearing pink. I don't know if that was like a thing this year, but did you notice that?
it was very nice. And then Lady Gaga, well, I don't know if she skipped the red carpets, but she had this really beautiful white tulle dress on. And did you see House of Gucci?
Father Son House of Gucci. No, but I know that like, Jeremy got nominated he got nominated for a Razzie, or he won a Razzie for his role.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen clips of it online, and it just his accent in that movie is just very funny. He goes, why, son, why? Like he's trying to be Italian, but it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, you're like, we're Italian, so like, yeah. And I was like, that's my one little critique. Is like, can you get some Italians to play like the popes and Rome's? You always get these English and British actors to play like Italians. It's like, we. It's like
Italians have a slightly different skin tone, man. Like like the same way everyone takes it so seriously that they get proper representation for each film. Why aren't we getting enough Italians in the Super Mario movie upcoming? I know it's voice acting, but still, I mean, there's huge controversies about there's a white actor playing a Pooh. We need the proper ethnicity and stuff. Well, why don't we have a proper ethnicity for Mario? It's just as important if you're going to play by those rules, I think. Because since when was there like like this? We don't have much. Okay, at times we don't have many characters that that are in pulp culture, and they're known for being Italian. Like usually it's just like just like generic stuff, or like I mean they haven't even made we've made some progress in terms of like Disney did a film called Luca, and that took place on the Italian Riviera, but even that movie they're not casting genuine Italian, so I
Yeah.
find it a little bit interesting, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah. So
it's hard to keep up with what is worthy of change and what's not. I guess baby steps.
yeah, because Mark's younger generation, you're like, you were 19, so you're like, what, 20 now? 21?
Yeah, yeah. I'm no, I'm actually 23 now. I'm
Oh.
growing up.
Yeah, well, I put a little touch of Italy in everything I do, especially in the kids program because, representing where I was born, Naples, Italy. Yeah, and speaking of people around the world, Penelope Cruz, she looks so beautiful with her husband, Javier Bardem, who was in, like, they both were in those movies that were Oscar nominated. Speaking of, Nightmare Alley, did you see Nightmare Alley? Kind of like one of those, like, dark,
I should have because I saw them filming in Toronto, but so that's kind of interesting that they were shooting that at home. Um, did you see that one?
I saw some of it. It was so dark. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you're in the theater, you're watching it so dark, you're like, can the projectionist like turn up the brightness a little bit?
Yeah. So we love Dune, and the costumes were spectacular in Dune, and the images, and just obviously the best sound, the visuals just stunning. The movie, yeah, that's a 3-hour movie that I would like to see. You know what I mean? Take me on that journey. And then I want to talk about Belfast. I mean, because one of my producers that came on the show, he was speaking about how hard it was his growing up. So Belfast, about a young boy and his working class Belfast family. uh, they were just it was tumultuous in the 1960s. They were like literally like just the kids didn't have this beautiful upbringing, and he said like it was so hard, but he had very positive parents that like they tried to like shelter him from what was going on. So and Kenneth Branagh, I mean, he's amazing, he's amazing.
Yeah, he directed Death on the Nile, and he stars in those films as well as the detective. And I didn't watch Murder on the Orient Express, but I really want to now because I saw Death on the Nile, and the way that the story unfolds. I predicted it. I don't know how predictable it is for general audiences. Maybe it's just predictable for movie watchers, but there was some satisfaction in knowing that like I guess the killers right, and so it was a really fun movie to watch. And I hear they're making a third one based on those Agatha Christie books.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love Agatha Christie. Now, the British TV shows, they do British, all that stuff. I love like Moors and Inspector Lewis and Agatha Christie and Inspector Hercule Poirot. I mean, I can watch this for days. But I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't want some Italian actors to play those roles because they'd be like, no, they need to be English. But um we're just having fun here. And The Power of the Dog, that got a lot of controversy because like I guess the costume was too flowy or something, but it looks like a beautiful movie, and especially you got my favorite, you got Sherlock Holmes. You got Benedict Cumberbatch, Mr. Sherlock Holmes in that movie. So anything that Benedict Cumberbatch is in, it's going to be outstanding. You know what I mean? And then congratulations to Jane Campion. Congratulations, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, congratulations to Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Oh yeah, right.
Is she like reverse aging or something?
I know, doesn't she look like right? She's looking beautiful and prettier and prettier and prettier. All right, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I was like, holy,
Yeah, and
that's what I got from that from her red carpet look. But yeah,
yeah,
and then they even what I found interesting is this year they're even doing like I don't know if you noticed, but they're doing they had this category that they never had before, which is the Oscar cheer moment, and it's like the most entertaining or the best moment in a film. that the fans can vote for, and everyone voted for the number one, place was the Flash entering the Speed Force in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which those fans of Zack Snyder are just so they really come in numbers. And I even saw in Hollywood today they were flying a jet or a plane over where they were over Hollywood Boulevard, where the Oscars is, and I believe probably over Warner Brothers too. And they're asking Discovery and Warner Brothers, who are now going to be merging pretty soon, to restore the Snyderverse, which is basically Zack Snyder's vision of the DC films, because he's no longer working on those movies. But the fans, boy, they really want him to come back to that franchise. He did Justice League, Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel. And so I thought it was interesting that the Oscars wanted to introduce a new category where the fans could vote for their favorite moment in the film. It tells me that they're trying to expand their reach and get more ratings and honor those superhero films, which they inevitably knew people were going to vote for, in a way where they don't have to nominate them for Best Picture, but they get their own little category. And then they also did like a award for the most talked about film, or the best film that the fans could vote for, and they voted for, again, Zack Snyder's film Army of the Dead, because apparently Justice League didn't qualify for some reason, because it's like an extended, it's like a recut. Doesn't make much sense because it's inconsistent with the other category. But yeah, people just love Zack Snyder and really rally behind him. So that was interesting too. The Army of the Dead, which is a Netflix film.
Yeah, and speaking of, so we got like best actor in leading role. We know Will Smith. We got Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. We went over all of the amazing movies and best picture for Coda. Speaking of, it was the first time that the Jane Campion, Power of the Dog, the original song No Time to Die, documentary feature Summer of Soul, best adapted screenplay Coda, original screenplay Belfast, costume design Cruella, because that was just wild costumes, love it. International feature film Drive My Car, actor in supporting role. This is a history breaking. Troy, there was a couple of history breaking things. Troy Coda, right? He was actually deaf. That's what they're saying. First time. And then animated feature Encanto, like you said, visual effects Dune, cinematography Dune, actress in supporting role. They're saying that Andrea Du Bois in West Side Story. That's another
It was
groundbreaking.
fantastic.
Yeah, just amazing. And makeup and hairstyling, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, that was incredible, right? And production design, Dune, incredible production design and achieving a sound. Of course, Dune. Congratulations for Marissa Group. Original score, Dune. You know what? Hans Zimmer. I mean, out of the ballpark. Did you hear Dune's soundtrack? Oh my god,
Hans
incredible.
Zimmer's always great. Like he's never missed.
Just it's and animated short film The Windshield Wiper. I love that title. And documentary The Queen of Basketball. So we just so many things. Hey Mark, I'm going to ask you, are you going to do another fan film, of some kind of superhero fan film?
You know what, Marilyn? I feel like with the Spider-Man franchise ending, it's sort of my goodbye to fan films as well. It seems like.
Hmm. You got to
And
write.
so what I really want to focus on from now on, at least for the immediate future, is original films, creating original characters, original stories, perhaps inspired by my life or other people's lives. And I'm working on my second script right now, and I want to dive into that realm a little bit, because I've really dived into the fan film realm and bringing superheroes. Well, I guess specifically Spider-Man to life, but now I want to be able to create my own characters. So that's where my focus is going to lie.
Well, Mark, it's been just so much fun having you on our a special Oscar party. And if we want to do a part 3, we'll let you know. But we just always have good times here with Lord Mark Ricci, uh, uh, Movie Man
And
Mark, and the Spider Film fan franchise, which is the 5th installment is coming out. Well, all the information will be in the summary of the podcast. Make sure you hit the 5 stars, subscribe, download. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mark, for being here. We always have fun on Film Addicts.
so much fun. Thanks for having me, Merlin. And don't forget to rate 5 stars, all that stuff, guys. Subscribe for sure.